revolution starts now. The revolution starts now.
Hi there, this is Billy Earl, and this is Eastern Shore Politics. We are very pleased to have as our guest today Josh Hastings, who is running in Wicomico County. Josh, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Politics right now is a subject that seems to be on everybody's lips. I don't know if that's good or it's bad, but it is.
Bad.
Well, it could be better. It could be better. You're absolutely right. You're a native, aren't you?
Yes, I'm proudly from, my family's actually, well, I did my genealogy recently and found out my family's been here since 1629 was the expected date. They literally came to Wicomico area, a little south of that.
Okay.
And then set up shop in what is now Salisbury. But yeah, I didn't know I was that much of a local.
That's pretty local.
Yeah, but other than that, I grew up here in Wicomico County. 2000 graduate from Mardella High School.
Uh-huh.
I grew up on a farm. My family had the very first certified organic farm, fruits and vegetables, in the state of Maryland.
Boy, that was ahead of its time, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then, actually, my parents they didn't know anything about farming, but ended up writing the regulations for organic food, and then that became the Maryland regulations, which then was adopted into the national regulations. So it was kind of neat. And but they had a lot of other businesses.
Okay.
And so I grew up in the midst of that. Survival Products is another one of those businesses I think a lot of locals knew for many years. My family started that business. We had a couple other random ones, but the majority of my life I grew up in Mardella. We moved there when I was...
Okay, what are Survival Products?
It was a good store that was here for...
Freeze-dried food?
No, it was great. It was actually started in the late 70s when we had the oil crisis. A lot of
okay.
So out of that, we had heating was an issue. So my parents started kerosene heaters and other kind of things. So we got into that. And then it's most well known for they sold the business, but then more recently they used to sell kayaks and canoes on the side of the Route 13 here in Salisbury, and that was a lot of people have a warm part in their hearts for Survival Products, which now was just recently sold and now is a part of Ace Hardware.
Okay.
Section, but
you all started that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm most proud of my family. I'm very much proud of for how they came into agriculture. I think that really shaped who I am and what I do for a living now. And that was fruits and vegetables. I have 4 siblings. There's 4 of us, and we all worked out on the farm. We had a greenhouse and an orchard and all that, and grew chicken for Purdue. And so, the cliche politician would say that's how I learned the value of hard work. Well, that is how I learned.
Okay.
Sure.
I'll bet it did. I'll bet it gave you a keen appreciation, though, of not only the land, but of the people here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very blessed. I think Wicomico County has the best. We got the best people, the best quality of life. We are what you would want if you were going to build an area in Maryland. What you would want it to look like. If you were wanted a strong area, you would want one that has a downtown, that could be revitalized. That touches the waterfront. A healthy, educated population with the resources like we have with Salisbury University or Warwick, or 15 minutes south we have Princess Anne, we have UMES. Near natural resources, which we have abundant natural resources and here on the shore, having the ocean next door. So I'm very much proud to come from this area and to be able to be one of the people that can hopefully help shape it more, which is the whole reason why I'm running.
Okay.
But
well, Salisbury as a city, Wicomico as a county, are going through a period of growth, and management of it appears to be the issue. Management of land, management of educational resources, management of, let's say, the National Folk Festival coming here, and having a huge entertainment venue kind of placed upon you. And of course, there are significant concerns there with the environment and what the footprint's going to look like and all of that. Well, it certainly is a blessing, Josh, to be from here. When you're looking at the council and you're looking at running in District 4, I guess Mr. Hall has retired, and there's a young lady, a Republican, Ms. McCain, who will be your opponent. I believe that she did not file for the seat, but I believe that she was appointed to the seat. Yep. So hasn't actually been a working member of it for more than a couple of months. But when you're looking at that seat, what are you thinking about bringing to District 4 from Josh Hastings that may not be there in as much quantity and as much vitality as perhaps one would like?
Well, first of all, I'll say that John Hall is a wonderful human being, the current councilman. He's retiring. He's a neighbor one street over. He's a heck of a guy. He and his wife, Carolyn, they've been community servants like none other. She's former city councilman, as you know. She's the two of them together are what you would want in public servant. And I am happy to file. At the filing deadline, I was the only one that had filed for the race, but there was a process, so I now have an opponent that was appointed to run against me, and she seems to be pretty great. So we're gonna try and go after it, and I think we have a very good chance of making that a reality and joining the County Council District 4. But what I hope to bring, so my district, District 4, which is basically the city of Salisbury, it's a kind of a 2-mile radius of the college.
Yep.
And so it's a smaller district, but it's very densely packed. A lot of walkable homes, different from the rural side where I grew up at in Mardella. I was lucky enough to buy a home 2 years ago, right in the middle of Camden Avenue, right off. I can walk to the university. It's a wonderful spot.
That's a great area. We looked down there too, but couldn't find anything that fit.
Yeah, it's my home values jumped up quite dramatically in a short period of time, which is neat. But what I hope to bring to it, not only to the area where I serve or I hope to serve, the biggest things that I think are most important to me would be education. Obviously, with my twin sister Stephanie is a teacher at Parkside, and she's now going to a different school. And then my older brother, he's a teacher at Mardella. So I got to make sure that they're taken care of. I really support Dr. Hanlon's Imagine 2022 plan. I think if we want to make our county grow for the better in the future, we need to continue to. The first things that folks look towards are how are the schools?
Yep.
What's the quality of life like?
Yep.
And we're building that with what's happening with the city of Salisbury now. It is getting statewide, and dare I say now national attention, as you've alluded to, the National Folk Festival coming here. That is a big deal. We were chosen out of all the places in the country, and this is a 3-year commitment. This is going to be upwards of 120,000 people coming to here to the center of Salisbury. Our county population is only about 106,000.
That's a lot of people eating crab cakes on Main Street.
Yeah, so that's really it's actually a great thing. I think it's great.
Absolutely.
I think we're probably going to only have 60 to 80,000 this year. But the biggest things for me is I also want to continue to support, my second biggest item was the airport. My current councilman, John Hall, has just recently actually had the waiting area named after him. But he's
That's
been
nice.
working. Yeah, he's been working. He's been the biggest advocate for the airport expansion, and that means I think most folks don't understand. That means many thousand. And combined, the aggregate is 1,000+ jobs. We've got to expand that airport out to 8,000 feet. We have to continue. They have a master plan that they've put together. What that means is a lot of folks actually coming to the shore. We could make our airport a hub in ways that currently are used for in Charlottesville or Raleigh or others. And in doing so, that would bring a lot more traffic and a lot more business. That could mean expansion of, we could have everything from, first aid, EMS folks working out of there. We could have much more expansion and delivery from FedEx
A lot of things could follow that, couldn't it?
Yeah, so that is actually a huge endeavor,
Uh-huh.
which is many millions of dollars, but it actually could be really great for our society, for our local economy. And then the other big things that are important to me for changing my specific area, we need to continue to support these big events, as you mentioned. So the National Folk Festival, the NSSA, the NSSSA, I think this is the softball tournament.
Yeah.
This brings in, this is a national softball tournament. This gets national attention, given our parks and our outdoor space. That's
Yeah.
and we're now actually having the men's. There's now a men's regional national finals that's going to be held here in baseball. That was just announced recently. But the quality of life part's really important to me. My great uncle was Raleigh Hastings, who was the mayor of Salisbury. Helped create the city zoo and the park, that extension of the park.
Right.
So I never knew him, but it's kind of neat to see how we've, because of having the zoo, a lot of people, the quality of life, I think a lot of folks want to stay here. I had a former roommate years ago. She was a teacher, and she was from Rockville, DC region, and she came to Salisbury University because that was the school for if you wanted to be an educator. She came here and got her master's and her bachelor's, and then ended up buying a home right next to the zoo, right at the bottom near.
I get that.
Because and I asked her, like, well, aren't you going to go back to what so many people have done before? Aren't you going to go back to to Rockville or other areas? She said, no, I love it here, and I've got a home that is very affordable, and I've got a great quality of life. So to me, building on that is what's going to be most important. That's what I want to see.
I really get that. My daughter and my two grandkids, with her and her husband, live 20 minutes from the DC Zoo, and they would rather come out here because the zoo is so much more accessible and so much less of a hassle to try and navigate. But the other thing too is the child park that's right adjacent to it. It's just very well
free,
thought out. Yeah, exactly. And that's not the case in Washington. Every time you turn around, there's a dollar bill jumping out of your wallet. And it's hard to get to, all of those things. On another different but somewhat related idea, there has been kind of a discussion about the council, and I guess what the discussion has been is whether or not they work well as a unit, as a team. I know that that's probably personality driven, and I know we live in divisive times where, we all have tribes and all that. What are your thoughts on this?
First and foremost, politics is stupid. I don't care for it at all. I'm a policy person. I have a master's in public policy. I've studied, my bachelor's degrees were in business, and I want to see results happen. It wasn't that long ago that the city of Salisbury was being seen as, as a zoo and as its own right.
No pun intended, right?
But that changed quite quickly. When you get leadership in that is educated and understands what's happening and can work collegially. I think we have that on the city side. I want to make sure that all 8 of our municipalities are respected and are working well with the county itself. I think the county can do better, and we don't have to put forth an image that we're dysfunctional, which has been easier for. Unfortunately, it's been easier for folks to think that. Just attending some of our council meetings, they've seemed a little more raucous than they need to be.
A little bit more, yeah.
Yeah, but I do believe we have generally good individuals that are running and that want to make positive change. I'm really excited about Bill McCain is coming back to run again. I'm hoping he can make that. And then of course John Cannon's done it. He runs efficient meetings. So there's we have some good leadership and good folks that are stepping up. I think that combined with, and by the way, very interesting I'm not a fan of politics. I get it, but I think politics drag us down way more than they should. But we have a unique situation here in our county executive race which you have, the current Bob Culver is a Republican. You have an individual who's running as a Democrat, who's getting out, is a young individual, and then you have Jack Heath. Who's
you have an independent.
An independent, yeah. So a lot of folks around the state are watching that, and so whoever wins on the county executive race side, whoever wins for the council, I think we need to make sure that we work with a common vision. I think Jack Heath as often says we don't feel like we have a vision for the county. And if you don't know where you're going, you can just keep on driving and drive all over the place.
Yeah.
I think I personally am bringing a vision, and I know other members are. I think it's about time that the county, beyond its comprehensive plan, beyond it needs to have a vision for where it wants to go. I think if we follow the model of what Jake Day has done with the city of Salisbury, we're going to be very successful, and I think we will arrive in a good conclusion.
That's an interesting thought. You're drawing the 30,000-foot metaphor of planning and a vision of that. And yeah, I think most of the scholarly followers would absolutely agree with that. It's just we need people who can think in that manner in that place. Don't like politics, huh? Okay. I know it hasn't been a good servant. It hasn't been a trusty ally in getting good things done.
Right.
It's actually been a detriment. Now your master's is in public policy. Explain a little bit about that, because I'm not sure that most people are familiar with such a scholarly endeavor.
Sure. So I have, first of all, both my as I mentioned before, I graduated from Mardella in 2000. That's our fourth high school that people often forget here in the county.
Yeah, they do.
I'm a proud 2000 graduate of Mardella.
Okay.
I then went to both my bachelor's degrees are from Salisbury University, stayed local. The first one was in business, and the second was in political science. And then I worked full time over this past. I've been working in the current organization for 7 years. I do comprehensive planning. I work with counties across the Eastern Shore to help find a vision for what they want for their communities and help find resources to make that happen. While I've been doing that in my current job, I've been also attending grad school, and I finished last year. Finally, after 6 years.
Congratulations!
Thank you. It was 34,600 miles is what I drove back and forth to the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, just south of Baltimore and Catonsville.
Yeah.
And I got a master's in public policy, which is that focuses on how to make our communities better. What systems are at place in order to change the political dynamics or to bring real resources. So my focus has been in public management. So my master's degree focus has been in running a public organization, for the greater good and in the most efficient way possible. And it's a great program at UMBC. We'll plug there.
What did you like best about that program and that field of study?
Well, it'd been better if it was online, I'll say first and foremost, because 34,000 miles of driving back and forth over 6 years, that was a lot. But that aside...
That's a lot of wheel time.
Yeah. But I will say the best part about it is actually it takes a good look at, it dives into everything from economics. My first class was in economics, and which I already studied a lot in business, in my business degrees. But so it takes a lot of the 30,000 foot level in different areas, everything from social context to different groups, who's recognized members of society, who isn't.
Okay.
That it also looks at everything from statistics. So I've gotten to dive deep and way deeper than I ever would have wanted to into statistics. But in general, that master's degree was I think it was a kind of a comprehensive education in trying to find, what are the. And let me say too, it was very much. This one was focused the way that UMBC puts this master's program on. It was. They actually really enjoyed the fact that I had a local perspective, that I could speak for counties. Often we get you get a national perspective for policy, or you get people look even at the state level and what's happening with the governor, where the majority of government really happens at the local level.
And I think that is a really forgotten thought. Politics is local.
Yeah. who was that? All Politics Live with It?
Yeah.
Tip O'Neill? No, who was that?
No, it was Tip O'Neill.
Yeah.
It was Tip O'Neill. All politics. I think Chris Matthews tries to take credit for it sometimes, but I think it was the tipster. But the issue for many people, strangely enough, is they don't follow local politics as closely as they do national, and they don't engage.
Right.
How can we change that? How can that dynamic be altered?
I was in a long conversation last night with Jesse Campbell, which a lot of folks may know, a great leader, individual he's in my neighborhood. He was outside, and we just happened to be walking, and my girlfriend and I were walking together, and we ran in and talked to him. But he's doing a lot of different things. He's running the recent conversations on race, which gets a lot of attention. He's being involved in, you name it, everything from coaching to all these other endeavors. And I was just the previous day before that, I was in another conversation about how people are so taxed, and not in the sense with the actual money taxed. They're taxed in the way of what they have to do in order to live in a social society. People are volunteering for their churches, for their synagogues, for they're volunteering for their coaching. They are serving on nonprofit boards. I personally serve on, I couldn't even tell you how many boards right now. I chair the Rural Maryland Council, which is a big endeavor. I also serve on the board of Lower Shore Land Trust. When I started thinking about it, there's a lot of folks you were either scratching and clawing to stay alive and to make ends meet, or you were doing that plus serving in all of these other capacities. And it's hard for folks to actually to pay attention to what's really happening. And I don't blame them for tuning out when they see national politics and you have corporate media telling you, this or that, which all they're not really trying to give you real news. They're trying to sell you products and keep you entertained. And
come join our tribe. Yeah,
so dumb. And so in general, I feel for people who are serving in so many different ways, and I do think I encourage folks to continue to try to serve. But we live in a society where people are overrun way more than they need to be, and way more than they should be. And they're not making this kind of money that they used to make. My generation I'm soon to be 36 years old. I'm the top of the millennial generation, and we are the first generation to do worse off than our parents.
Yeah.
In American society. And the running joke is that every millennial has a side hustle. Every millennial, we all have something else going on that we're doing to bring in income, because we are making less money comparatively than we did in the 1970s.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing in less money, and at the same time you have things called a cell phone bill, like internet, and all these things that you didn't have, so many years ago. No wonder people are so taxed in their own, for using that term. They are hurting, and it's hard for them to serve. But you know what? I'm optimistic, because a lot of folks people like Jesse or people else, they are finding ways to step up and to help create a new vision for what our area should be like.
And they're smart, and they're energetic, and I think that they see the direct corollary relationship between involvement and engagement, and shaping a better world.
Well,
I have this conversation on an ongoing basis with my daughter, that, for instance, on the environmental front, I can't believe that millennials up to this point haven't taken my generation and just forbid them from being involved in the choices and the decisions for our environment, because we have made so many bad decisions, and so many decisions that are short-sighted and are driven by economics and not about the health of the environment. I don't know what it is that, as a group, my generation was thinking. We talked about it back in the 60s, and then all of a sudden everybody got a coat and tie. And now it's all about, squeezing a bottom line out of it. It's preposterous. I have great hopes that there is a better viewpoint from millennials. And just on another side note, I think that they are going to be the first generation of people that are not absolutely free of racism and classism and all the isms, but I think they're going to be as close to it as we've ever gotten, because I think they've seen why it's a bad thing.
Right.
why it's not smart.
I think national politics also makes that much more evident with with the national politics and with the MSNBCs and the Fox News of the world all trying to battle.
Fighting.
People then get then they're starting to realize, like, you know what, I don't need to hate the person next to me. I don't need to hate that person. We don't need to be as divisive. And I think that's going to be my generation is very well aware of that.
I hope so.
I knock on the wood and hope that we
or plastic.
Plastic.
I hope that we can overcome. You and I are different. You may be wrong, but you're not a bad person.
Right. Yeah,
I'm hoping we can overcome that.
Right.
Now, this race coming up, Election Day is the 8th?
6th.
November 6th. We're going to want everybody to get up and get out and vote. I don't care who you're voting for.
Right.
Do me a favor and give the people at home or here on YouTube, which is our biggest format, how do they get involved with you? How do they become engaged as a volunteer? How do they give money to you? How do they support you by telling their neighbors they've got to get up early on the 6th and make sure that they're pulling a lever? Somebody's.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all of the great support that we've had. I made a post this morning, we have over 800 Facebook likes. JoshHastings.com is my website, but Hastings for Wicomico, Facebook.com/Hastings for Wicomico. And you can just search my name, Josh Hastings, and you'll see it pop up. We've raised a fair amount of money, but we still have about $8,000 more to raise in order to meet our target in the next 4.5 months. But this is really important to come out and vote and to actually be seen. We do have, let me be clear, the hell with national politics, all right? It's about local from here on out. Let's come meet candidates. They're never before have been more accessible. And 410-251-5268, that's my cell. It comes right here to my phone. You can call or text me 24/7. I'm probably awake anyhow. HastingsforWicomico@gmail.com is my email address. Whatever you need, I'm there for you. I'll find a way to try to make it work. I want to be that times 10. And 410-251-5268. That's my personal number. You can call me at any point in time. We still need to raise more money. I'm going to have a couple events coming out. I'm trying to get out in the community. We're going to be knocking doors. We have about 5,000 doors. We're going to go and meet individuals. And right now I'm taking, and thank you for all the folks who have filled out a survey. We did a survey of the future for the county, what they want to see. Mm-hmm. We had nearly 200 responses in a matter of 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
So
that's pretty good.
I've built from that. I've built up a lot of information about what I think was important from what I think folks were trying to say and what they want to see out of their county. We're going to be releasing those results soon. So check it out on Facebook, Facebook.com/Hastings for Wicomico. Visit my website, JoshHastings.com, or call, text, email, smoke signal, whatever you're into.
That was clever. Okay. Anything else you think people at home need to know?
I will say that in general, I want this position. I've been working at it for a while, and this is important to me. Wicomico County District 4. If you live near the
heart of the city,
then please come by and stop by 407 Monticello Avenue. It's all public. You can come, and I want to be accessible, and I want to do big things. I have a vision. I have resources. I have friends from around the state, and I want to use those resources and I'm going to pull them into our county so that we can make good things happen. So thank you, everybody out there who's been great supporters of mine and for the folks I care about. And thank you for having me today.
You were indeed a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, this has been Billy Earl with Eastern Shore Politics. Today's guest was Josh Hastings in District 4. There in the area leading right down to the college, Camden Avenue. I drive it every day, and I'm pretty sure that one of these days, in the next couple, I can get a sign from you to put in my yard. I have the Hall of Fame there going up of everybody who's running who I like. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and please give Josh a call, give Josh some money, go door to door. put together a house party. Have Josh come over and speak to 20 or 30 of your very best friends who care about their community and want to be involved in making it better. Thanks again, and as Louis Goldstein said, my favorite politician of all time, God bless y'all. Real good.
Yeah, the revolution starts now. The revolution starts now.